Okay, we ready? Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, Daniel Oates, Oates, Interim Chief of Police. Okay. I want to start off. Are tremendously relieved this morning that none of our officers were seriously injured last night. But I will tell you this, we are also very angry about what happened last night. Some people tried to murder Aurora police officers. And help from the community. So many of you have probably seen the press release. This event begins around 9:45 last night at the King Soopers parking lot at 6th Ave in Peoria. Our DART team, our Directed Action Response team, was following a confirmed stolen Kia Optima. The DART team is our proactive crime-fighting entity that is out there focused on violent crime. And in connection with violent crime in the Denver metro region and in Aurora, we have learned, I and my colleague police chiefs in the area, have learned that often stolen vehicles are associated with violent crime. So our team was out there last night and identified a stolen Kia Optima, and we were following it and trying to determine when and where would be a good place to stop the vehicle and apprehend the people who were inside. The subject vehicle was in the parking lot of the King Soopers, and the occupants of the vehicle, we believe the vehicle was occupied by 2 or more people. At 9:45, the occupants of the vehicle opened fire on 2 police officers in one of our unmarked cars. In very short order, that vehicle engaged in gunfire occupying 3 cars, engaged in a gun battle with the occupants of the Kia. A 4th police vehicle attempted to block the Kia from leaving the parking lot, and there was contact between the 2 vehicles, and that vehicle, occupied by 2 police officers, was also fired upon by the suspects. As I said, in the end, 4 cars were hit with gunfire. We have some images, if we can put them up on the screen. And we can provide these, right? Okay. Some of these were released last night. We have some we can include here of the other 3 vehicles that were fired upon. Okay. None of our officers were hit with gunfire. One of our officers was checked out at the hospital for possible eye and hand injuries and was released. The vehicle fled the parking lot and ended up crashing into another vehicle at 10th and Lima, somewhat nearby the King Soopers parking lot, and in the area to the south. And the occupant or occupants of that vehicle fled the vehicle. We found a 16-year-old juvenile, okay, and it was very cold last night, and he was not wearing clothing that fit the weather. And when we apprehended him sometime after 10 o'clock that night, he was in an open field near Central High School. He was wearing a non-functioning ankle monitor for past arrests. And by the way, it is a common theme and frustration for us that when it comes to juveniles and ankle monitors, they either aren't wearing them when they should be, or they're non-functioning. We run into this all the time. He was wanted on multiple failure to appear warrants for motor vehicle theft and possession of a weapon. He is now being held on those charges. He has not been charged in connection with this incident at this time. Now, the additional news, first of all, if you look at the map here, you'll see The lower red dot is the area of the King Supers, and the upper dot on the left is the area at 10th. We know that at least one person fled from the vehicle there. We are offering through the Aurora Police Foundation Reward Fund a $10,000 reward for the suspect that we know, at least the one suspect that we know fled that vehicle. The description we have for him is rather modest. We know the person is male. We do not know the person's age or race. We know the person was wearing a hooded sweatshirt, and we know he has an injury to one of his legs, most likely the right leg. And we know that based on blood evidence on the scene and other evidence. So we are offering a $10,000 reward. So again, we are extremely relieved that none of our officers were hit with gunfire, and we are extremely angry that these folks tried to murder our police officers. Hence, we are looking for the community's help. Now, we have searched at night for those suspects. We have searched again today during the day for suspects and evidence. But we are asking in particular that folks that live in the neighborhood of 10th and Lima, again, south and west of Central High School, especially if they have Ring cameras or other recording devices, that they look at their own technology and systems that they have for anything, and look around for any evidence, anything out of the ordinary, and that they please call us with any information that might be helpful as we continue this investigation. Now, with regard to the officers, 6 officers, consistent with our policy, have been placed on administrative leave pending in the conclusion of this investigation. They are the 5 officers who fired their weapons and the officer of the car that engaged in contact with the suspect vehicle. And this is not a judgment on their actions at all. It is consistent with best practices and department policy. We did reverse to residents in that community to shelter in place. We made that notification for a period of time while we conducted the search of the area. And I want to remind everyone that we do not investigate our own officer-involved shootings. The investigation of the conduct of the police officers is being conducted by the 18th Judicial District Critical Incident System. We are providing assistance to that investigation, but if you ask me questions about that portion of the investigation, I will be very limited in what I can say because that is up to those investigators. Since I'm likely any shots, I cannot tell you that right now. I can tell you that a lot of shots were fired by the suspects and quite a few shots were fired by our 5 police officers, but I do not have the numbers. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Chief, do we believe any of the suspects were hit with gunfire, or you said one was injured?
We know that one of the suspects was injured based on blood we found at the scene, and we know that it is a leg injury and it's probably the right leg, but I can't tell you if that is gunfire or not.
Is there any damage to businesses around the area that was related to this?
I don't have any details other than I know that based on how the event went down, some rounds struck the King Supers. Beyond that, I don't have any of those details. Again, the CERT team has those details.
So other than the police patrol cars, no other vehicles were struck by the...
I can't say for sure. There were an awful lot of rounds fired. I simply don't have that information right now.
How did the officers who are on administrative leave impact the DART team? It's 5 officers. It's left.
Well, the DART team has 16 members, okay? and 6 of them are now on administrative leave. So that's a pretty significant impact on our capacity to function. But I will tell you this was a traumatic event for the entire DART team. It's a traumatic event for the entire department. So the DART team is off today, okay? We're letting the entire team decompress today, and they will be operating on a reduced capacity for some time.
Did you say 6 or 5? Just outside.
5 officers fired, but we placed 6 on administrative leave based on the actions of the one officer using the car to block the others. And that's, again, just consistent with, I will tell you this, I see no evidence to indicate that any of these officers at this time violated department policy. And in fact, everything I know about this event, and I was at the scene last night, and everything I know about this event at this time, that our officers acted courageously and in the face of a deadly threat.
Chief, this DART team, how did it come upon this vehicle? How did it know it was a stolen vehicle? Did they have a license plate reader? Was there something suspicious?
I don't know. I mean, we have several ways to confirm that a car is stolen, but in the end, we check all active databases, and it was confirmed that it was a stolen car. It's a tremendous challenge to stop people in a stolen car. We want to avoid a pursuit because this pursuit is incredibly dangerous. So our technique is to wait. Can block it in, or they get out of the car to get, to get gas or get a snack somewhere, and that's when we want to take them, is when they're not behind the wheel. So the team was following the car and trying to find a moment where that might work.
All unmarked cars were following that car, is that right?
All the units that the DART team was using that evening were unmarked cars.
Chief, talking to the CNAP group today, they were saying that it's more and more common to find guns in these stolen cars. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. Is that, I mean, obviously you can't stop doing your work, but does that give you greater concern for your office?
I'm sorry, and I can tell you that we did recover 2 guns in the car that was crashed. And yes, it is very, very common that associated with these violent crimes of weapons. So.
Chief, is APD devoting more resources to auto theft?
Well, with the efforts of the DART team, which first hit the streets in July, there has been a focus on auto theft because, as I said, we are finding that so many of our robberies, our non-fatal shootings, or other, again, consistent with everything that's going on in the Denver metropolitan area. All you have to do is talk to any of the other police chiefs. Everything seems to be starting with a stolen car. So the answer is yes.
More OISs?
I don't know statistically whether whether that is so. I haven't processed it in those terms. If you go after bad guys who are committing real violence with guns, you can come to your own conclusions as to whether or not that's going to lead to more officer-involved shootings. It certainly led to that last night.
We've done extensive reporting about how this could have been officers in that unmarked car.
Until we talk to them, can we? And we can't talk to them until we arrest them. So we'll try and get an answer to that question, okay? But and we're asking for the community's help. We want to find this guy, all right? And $10,000 is a pretty hefty reward. We really want the community's help on this. Obviously, this person doesn't exist in a vacuum. We're hoping this $10,000 reward sweetens the pot, along with appealing to people's civic duty. All right. Again, this person tried to murder Aurora police officers, protecting all of us, and we want him.
You mentioned that there was two or more people in the vehicle. Do we know if just that one person fired shots at officers or other people in the vehicle as well?
We are confident there were at least 2 people in the vehicle, and we're confident that at least 2 people fired shots at us. There might have been a third. Any other questions? Okay, terrific. Thank you very much.